Hello all my Kenvians and welcome to a new episode of Discovering Doctor Who. Following up on what I personally feel to be one of the best episodes of Doctor Who ever, I would personally probably put it in my top 5, Rosa, will be Arachnids in the UK. An episode that I'm sure a lot of people who hate spiders really hated. I say that obviously because I'm watching this the day after it actually premiered like usual. But yeah, let's get right into Arachnids in the UK, find out what the big deal is, and I'm going to guess this one will be in modern day. I don't know if maybe they're going to do it like, future, past, present, or what exactly, but we'll figure it out. And go.
When the plane leaves, Kevin, what do you need? Money?
It's not the money, sir. It's the logistics.
He looks very familiar.
It's too big, too complex. A purple one, and sit on it. Am I being weird?
A little bit, yeah.
Small talk. I thought I was doing quite well.
Needs-
It's actually awkward.
He doesn't want to go home to the empty house. Oh. The thing's friggin' huge.
Anna?
Oh, did it shed its skin? That's not even the real spider, it shed its skin.
You okay?
Or is it?
No!
I've had to deal with it. Well, me and Amelia Earhart. You'd like her, she's a right laugh. So, we're working on an enzyme.
Hi. Hi. You're gigantic.
They can't be here, Nadja. You made a very awesome human. Tell me what's going on.
There's got gunshots?
Hi.
Hi.
Looking for a Kevin. See it? Really close. Sorry, I don't know who you are.
Oh, wow. Really? Because you must be the only person on the planet that doesn't.
Are you Ed Sheeran? Is he Ed Sheeran? I don't know.
I am not Ed Sheeran. Graham! Oh, behind you! Bloody!
Oh, good God. Okay, yeah, not arachnophobic, but oh.
Are you two seeing each other? I don't think so. Are we? We're friends. What was that even supposed to do? Dude, have all the authorization I ever need. I can't be able to now. Doctor,
Oh, people too.
there's something going to stop people.
What? Oh my God. Hi.
Do you want to do it together? What's this bit?
That's a proper ending to just the legacy that has occurred so far. Just that was a proper end, and like, I mean, 4 episodes? Is it? Yeah, 4 episodes in, just like, it feels like we've just gotten through that first adventure. We've gotten through that first big adventure that took them to all the different places, and this is where, just like, they didn't just get dragged along, they're going along for the ride, and I love that! I'm sorry, Bella. I might have disturbed Bella a little bit. But okay, let's talk a little bit about this episode. It was a heck of a... I will say, I feel like the previous episode definitely left a lot for other episodes to live up to, so I'm not going to compare it on those grounds. But this was definitely a really good episode, one that I really enjoyed. So let's just get into some of my favorite parts of this episode. Starting with the Doctor's small talk, shall we say. just her talking about, she's still kind of coming into her own, learning how this personality works. She actually comments on that. And I really like that that's an aspect of it. Because this is the longest that she's been able to interact with just regular people since that adventure started. Since she really started to understand who she is. Or at least that's the way I interpreted it. So yeah, it's just like her, the Doctor trying to come to terms with small talk, and just the way that worked in that scene was amazing. And tied into that would be Yaz's family. I really liked them. The dad is funny, hilarious, just a complete dork. I love him. I don't know how I can relate to that. Yaz's sister, crap, I actually forgot her name. But she's adorable and snarky. It's like she definitely fits the archetype of the little sister, kind of the bratty little sister. I do hope that we get to see a little bit more of her and maybe see her grow, through the series potentially. And then Yaz's mom, Nadja, she's pretty cool. I gotta say, I like her. I thought that the first time she appeared, I didn't even make the connection that she was her mom. I'm not sure if they actually mentioned her last name during that first scene. But, yeah, finding out that she's Yaz's mom, and, I mean, she wasn't just a wilting flower or anything like that. It's like, obviously she was shaken and taken aback by the fact that she got fired by that douchebag. But as a whole, it's like, it's like she wasn't just some wilting flower. She did what she needed to do, and it was pretty awesome, I have to say. So yeah, even though, Yaz is going away from her family for a little while, I do hope that we see some more of them, and possibly see how, obviously how Yaz grows, but then also how the family sort of evolves around her. Maybe how they change. Maybe they won't change at all. It's hard to say. But, it just... I'm interested to see more of them. My next favorite part, as painful as it was seeing Grace. I mean, and obviously Grace is... it's a display of the grieving process that Graham is going through. But seeing her again, it's so sweet and so heartbreaking. It's like, part of me worries that maybe Graham might be kind of losing it a little bit. But at the same time, it's hard to tell, because sometimes shows do that where, they'll start seeing someone who has died, and that's sort of a sign of them losing touch psychologically, or starting to kind of go off the deep end. But at the same time, and this is probably what they're going for in this show, it's just part of the grieving process. Like when he sees her when he's at the house, and it's because there's so much of her there. That house contains so many of their memories. So that's most likely what the deal was there. At least I'm assuming. I hope that they don't have Graham kind of lose it in the end, which, through the grieving process is entirely possible to just kind of, go off the deep end, but I hope that that's not the case. So yeah, seeing Grace again, even if it's just for those short little moments, was really sweet. My next favorite part of this episode is really the focus of the entire episode. The spiders. It's like, first the introduction of the webs. It's like knowing the title of the episode when we see those shots of some of the spider webs over where people are standing and talking. It was kind of cheesy at first, but then they really ramped it up when we went into what's her name, Anna's flat. And it's like, and we see just all of these cobwebs, all of these spider webs, and how that's incorporated through the rest of the episode, and I thought it was really well done. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, and well, I also want to talk about, like, you know, the big giant spider, but I'll hold off on that for a little bit, just because, you know, its main point was there at the end of the episode. Now, let's see. Another favorite part of this episode, I wrote down some notes, thankfully, so I could remember, so remember some of the parts. Team TARDIS, really, and I think that's probably my biggest, most favorite part about this entire episode was the way it wrapped up, the way it brought the team back together. It brought the fam, Team TARDIS, back to the TARDIS. And it's like I was saying as the episode ended. It wasn't a deal where they got pulled away, forced into this situation against their wills. It's like they came of their own volition. They came because they wanted to see more. Graham came because he's grieving. He knows he's grieving. He knows and feels how hard that grieving process is going to be. And the opportunity to see the entire universe potentially. I mean, as far as ways to distract yourself go, I can't think of a much better one, really. Yaz wanting to get away from her family, which, who knows, through this process she may come to find a greater appreciation for her family, or she may come to find a better appreciation for herself and who she is, which will make being around and with her family a better experience, perhaps. And then Ryan, I feel like Ryan is in it because, I mean, not necessarily for the same reasons, but he wants that adventure. He wants to get out there and see more. He wants to experience all that. It's like he's experiencing things in his life that he never would have thought possible. And again, I still don't know enough about his condition to know truly how much it limits him, or how it can limit people in real life. But it's like he's breaking through all, if not all, but most of those limits that, you know, the condition placed on him. It's like I feel like in this episode in particular, as far as like being discoordinated goes, like trying to capture that spider, that seems like a prime time where there might have been like some example of the condition sort of, you know, affecting him to where he couldn't perform properly. I guess that's the right one way to put it. But they didn't. It's just like through this episode, at least in my opinion, it seemed like he didn't have the condition anymore. And I wonder if maybe that's the direction they're going to go, is that these adventures he's going on, it's a way of, it's almost like a kind of therapy for him. It's a way of him being able to move beyond the limitations, move beyond the condition that he's been stricken with. I don't know, that's just me kind of thinking out loud about it. I'm curious to hear what you all might think about my thoughts on that, at least. Now, I do have some issues with the episode. Most or none of which may be very surprising. But, the first of which would be Jack Robertson. Now, he's clearly like the true antagonist, I guess, of this episode. And he doesn't even get a comeuppance. It's just, you know, he moves on. He has learned no lessons. He's a little bit sad that he lost his bodyguard, Kevin. But he's still just full throttle. He aims to win the presidential election in 2020. I do admittedly love the fact that they brought up the Trump thing and how he's hated Trump for like 10 years and all that. That was kind of hilarious. But yeah, this Jack Robertson character is like, even though he, he hates Trump. I mean, he was basically a caricature of Trump, and I don't have an issue with the episode because of that in particular. My annoyance with that is that there's a Trump character at all. That there's a Trump-ish character, because, this may make you mad because your politics may differ from mine, but I hate Trump. I think he is the worst mistake this country has made. Well, let's just say in a long time. I won't say ever, because we have made some bad decisions. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, just him being around, with the exception of maybe a couple of moments where he felt a bit sympathetic, just slightly. And even him just being afraid of spiders, that was pretty funny too. Moving on from there, I think my other annoyances, and I apologize, maybe this sounds a bit biased because I am American, and we have the whole gun thing here going on. It's been going on for a long time. But I feel like they kind of hit the gun thing on the nose a bit too much, which, coming from this Jack Robertson character, may be an extension of my annoyance with him. But yeah, just like the whole commenting on, it's like, what's with this country? It's like, I can't remember the exact phrase, but why can't you just do normal things, something along those lines, and just shoot a gun? Again, something along those lines. I can't remember exactly. So it's again, I feel like it mostly comes from my annoyance with the character, because to a large degree I agree with a lot of other countries' methods of handling firearms and things of that nature. I am a gun owner, personally. I am very much in favor of stronger restrictions on guns and things like that. Yeah, well, I won't go into too much of that, but basically, I'm very much in favor of, going to things being safer and guns being, harder to obtain. I'm very much against the idea of guns that was displayed by this Jack guy here. And, but at the same time, I do feel that they kind of, it was a bit too on the nose, maybe. It was just kind of like, oh, you're Americans and your guns. Which, again, I do get it, but it just, I don't know, it seemed a bit weird, because even Ryan was, on their first, well, not their first adventure. Oh no, wait, it was their first adventure when they, when he ran out with the laser gun to shoot the sniper bots. They're not the Americans aren't the only ones that can go kind of gun nuts. Admittedly, we are the biggest of them. But again, it felt a little bit on the nose, the writing there. What else was there? There was one. Oh, talking about the guns, talking about Jack, and then coming back to the giant spider. And this is a part that I'm curious to hear or read what you all have to say in the comments, because the situation admittedly has me a bit torn. And I commented on it in the review portion, or in the reaction portion. But the giant spider, they recognized that it was basically suffocating. It was going to die. It was suffering. The way they put it, it was like struggling to take in any oxygen at all, and it was dying. It was dying a slow death. What I could only assume was possibly a painful death. So, when Jack comes in and shoots it, while I do not agree with his demeanor about it, I do not agree with how he went about it, like it was just this casual thing. It's just like, oh, it's a giant spider, bang, it's dead. I don't agree with the way he approached it, but I agree with the statement that it was a mercy killing. Because I don't know, it just seems like if it was possible to give that creature, which might have been suffering, a quicker, more painless death. I mean, it was clearly painful, but a quicker death, is that not more humane than allowing it to suffer for however long it might live? It could have been a few minutes, it could have been a few hours, it could have been a few days, and it would be in pain that entire time. And maybe I'm personifying the spider a little bit too much there. It's like, giving it too much of a human's mindset, or applying too much of a human mindset to the spider. But that is the dilemma I fall into, in that, I agree with the Doctor in that it wasn't the right way to go about things. Jack was doing it, I don't want to call him Jack anymore, but not Trump. Not Trump. The way he went about it, I do not agree with. But at the same time, I personally feel that it wasn't necessarily the wrong choice. Now, as far as that goes, especially since a lot of the people that watch these videos are from the UK, are from different countries, including America, I am legitimately interested in hearing what you all have to say, not only about, my discussion with the guns and everything, but that situation in particular. Because I feel like it's something that, like, again, while fictional and about a giant spider, it just could be very interesting to discuss. So yeah, again, I'm really looking forward to hearing what you all might have to say in regard to that. As always, including with the politics and stuff like that, I apologize if I offended anyone, but let's do keep it civil as far as how the comments go. But yeah, again, just to repeat myself again, I'm really looking forward to hearing what you all have to say. And I think that's it for this episode. Again, this was really good. It's an amazing lead into the rest of the series, which I think the series is 10 episodes long. Maybe 11 if you include the winter special. I think I think that counts. I don't know. I don't know how people usually count all the episodes. But, I mean, we're not quite at the halfway mark, but it just feels like the adventure's just begun. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next. And actually, the next episode is going to be, probably mispronouncing it, the Tsuranga Conundrum? Tsuranga Conundrum? Go with the first one, the Tsuranga Conundrum. And for some reason, the name Tsuranga, it did jump out to me because it feels like a name that we've heard before, or a people that we've heard before. Then again, there are a lot of those kind of things on this show, so who knows if it actually has been mentioned. But I'm curious to see what this is going to be about. It's going to be a conundrum, I can tell you that much. But regardless, everyone, thank you so much for being here for this episode of Discovering Doctor Who. I'm really looking forward to seeing the discussion in the comments down below. Again, if I'm not able to reply to yours, as long as I'm able to read it, I will give a like, or I will give an indication that I did see your comment. I appreciate every last one of you. And yeah, just looking forward to next week and getting to find out what the Tsuranga Conundrum is all about. And until next time, everyone, I am Papa Kenn, and I will see you in the next episode of Discovering Doctor Who. Allons-y!